Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kristen. Welcome to the 0Calvin channel. Please, have a seat and make yourselves comfortable. The show will begin in just a moment. If you are good and watch to the end, there might even be tea and biscuits.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the fourth and final episode of the boss fight animation series. I have a little bit of a confession to make though. I was a little bit naughty and I actually already finished the project, so good night. No, but seriously, I did finish it, but most of it was just like minor animation tweaks and also decapitating some teddy bears in Blender, so nothing you haven't seen like 100 times already. But what I did do was also render this project, and that was a big thing. So that's what I want to show you today. So I actually made a copy of that project, and I deleted all the rendering stuff out forcefully. So hopefully Unreal Engine won't cry too badly about it. And I'm going to run you through that process again. Hey Leo, what's up, dude? Nice to see you again, man. So yeah, anyway, that's what we're covering basically, is rendering our scene in Unreal Engine. And it's kind of a special case because most of our characters are being animated in iClone and just puppeted in Unreal through the live link. So we need a way of recording their performance before we can render out the scene. So that's kind of what I'm covering today. Other Pixel Planet, hello. Welcome to the live stream. So if you guys remember when we left off on the third episode, I was having the problem where the camera couldn't see in through the walls of the room. And when I clicked on the room and deleted, well, when I clicked on the wall and deleted it, it was actually attached to the whole room. So the whole, oh, you guys can't see. I got to do this here. There you go. That's better. So anyway, yeah, I almost did what I did before. Yeah, so when I deleted that wall, it deleted the whole building, which wasn't really great. And I'll show you how I fixed that, and it was a happy accident. I actually used the modeling tools inside of Unreal. So I'll show you how I did that. There's actually this thing, you can actually go to modeling here, but that's not on by default. So you would go to edit plugins, and then you type in modeling, and this modeling tools editor mode pops up, and you click it, and it's a beta. And it gives you a big warning that says this is going to cause cancer if you're in California, and may cause tooth decay and everything else, and probably end the world if you check it. But I checked it anyway. I then went into modeling mode like this, and my idea was I clicked on the room. So we'll just pretend this was the room here. And if we scroll down a bit, somewhere buried somewhere, yeah, under transform, there's this thing called split. It says split the selected meshes into separate parts based on connectivity. So when I clicked that with the idea that it'll separate out the building into its constituent parts, and then I can just delete the wall facing us, somehow that magically made the walls, I guess, one-sided in the correct direction. So now we can actually see, let me get out of this mode. So now we can actually see through our walls anyway. So I didn't actually have to delete it. So if I actually go into the room and Lumen catches up, you'll see that there is still a wall here on the inside. Oops. I will never get used to navigating in Unreal. Just never. What I did have to do was delete, there were paintings on the walls and other things here, so I deleted them. Let me just catch up on chat, make sure I'm not missing anything crazy. Yeah, I know, show us your screen. I did. Yeah, supposedly there's those modeling tools in there. I haven't really used them much, and I don't think they're super great, but they're there if you have to do something quick and dirty, I suppose. And I'm sure over time they will improve. So with that said, let's get started on rendering this beastie. By the way, apart from tea and biscuits at the end, I do have another treat for you. So if you stick to the end, this won't take long, hopefully maybe only 20 minutes or something. I have something pretty cool to show you guys after this. So I'll leave that as a surprise. So I have my cheat sheet here for how to do this process. And if you want to follow along at home, I'm going to copy and paste a link for you so you can download a copy yourself. And I'm actually going to just move it over here to this screen so it doesn't cover up this one. So right now we have iClone open on my other screen, and you can see that our content isn't linked right now. So every time you start these up, you have to kind of reactivate the link. Excuse me. So I have the appropriate things set. Our main actors, our decapitated teddy bears, which I added, and our two cameras. By the way, the two cameras, the one is the main camera, and this editor active camera, what that is, that basically represents whatever camera happens to be active in iClone. So in iClone, you can do stuff like you can use the switch camera, which can be like keyframed here on the switcher. So while you're playing an animation, it'll automatically switch between different cameras. So this is a way of utilizing that in Unreal, because if you leave this on, say, the switch camera, and you use that editor active camera in Unreal, it will automatically do those camera switches for you too, which is nice. We'll just go to our main camera here. So I'm going to activate this link. I'm going to park this back over here again. And over here in live link. Now, if you probably won't have this live link thing by default. You get that by going to, let me look at my notes. Window, virtual production, live link. So you click on that and it'll probably be a floating window and you can just dock it wherever you want. So I have it here, and you need to select the source, which is going to be my iClone live link thing here, which I click OK. And now we are officially linked. And it also links up the camera, so I can switch over to, say, our main camera here, and now we're linked with iClone. So if I go over here to iClone again, you can see when I press play in iClone, the action actually plays in Unreal as well, which is pretty cool. But the question is, how do we record this? Because somehow we have to like play here and record over here. And that is the process we're going to do next. So let me look at my cheat sheet again. All right, so the first thing we have to do is create a new media profile for the time sync. So basically, we want to establish like a time sync, like a time code sync between iClone and Unreal. So while this is playing a frame, it says, oh, there's a new frame, and let me record it. So that's kind of what we're setting up here. So new media profile. So up here, this little guy by the television is a media profile. What a media profile really is, who the hell knows? I just follow instructions. So new empty media profile. Select media profile. It's going to ask for a place to save it. I'm just going to chuck it in my cinematics folder, save it there. We get this big scary red thing. Ignore the big scary red thing, doesn't matter. Let's see, override project settings, we want to check. Timecode provider, we want live link, timecode provider. Choose the character under subject key. So under timecode, pick one of your animated characters. So we'll just take Victoria because she's like the main one. And then, where are we? Set the evaluation time to latest. Set the frame rate to 60 or whatever your project is in iClone. So my iClone project is 60 frames, so that's what I'm going to choose. Yeah, other pixel, if you just look at, if you go to my channel and you click on, instead of like videos, there's also a section that says live. And so you just click that and you'll see all my former live streams. So you can go back and watch these from the beginning. Okay, so I think that's all the settings. So we save and exit. So click save and get out of there. Okay, so there's a lot of these little stupid settings, which is why I have this cheat sheet. Now on the live link tab, we click on the source that we have running here, the iClone live link source. And we want to set this evaluation mode. Instead of engine time, we want this also set to latest. Now we go over to our take recorder. And if you don't have that, that's somewhere, exists somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where the heck I guess, yeah, Windows Cinematics Take Recorder. So you pop that out and I dock it over here. So when you have in the Take Recorder, you have these little gears for the settings. So you click that. So many little things that we have to do to get this set up. It's crazy. Let's see. Recording time source, time code. So we just want to confirm that this recording time source is set to time code. Okay, so we're good with that. We can get out of there. Now we need to select our sources. So what we're doing is the take recorder, I think of it as like a 3D video recorder. So anything that is being sent over from iClone, even the static stuff, we want to select so that we can record that action or inaction or whatever. We just want to record those actors in our take. So I'm going to click on plus add source. Now the video I watched from Relusion, they picked everything from this from actor thing. There is this from live link, which you would think would be the real easy way of picking, but those seem to be two different things, and I'm not sure if they work the same or not. So I'm just kind of following along with, you know, what Relusion showed me, because I'm assuming they know what they're talking about. So I'm going to go from actor here, and I'm just going to start picking all of my stuff from the iClone scene, including the cameras, by the way, whatever cameras you want to record. So I'm going to do my two cameras, my garden shears, my teddy bear, my 4 decapitated teddy bear parts. And I'm sure there's a quick way of selecting all of these, but whatever. Okay, so I've got everything, I believe. So we've got Victoria, her garden shears, all the teddy bear, and all the little teddy bear bits, and the 2 cameras. So that should be great. Cool. We're getting there. We're getting there. Hang in there, everybody. Almost ready. So this is the final setup thing. So we can actually record our take now. So to do that, I'm going to pop iClone back on my other window that you don't see. And so this big red button here, we're in scene 1, take 1. I'm going to press record here, and it gives me a countdown. Now it's recording, but you notice nothing's actually going in the timeline. So it won't actually start recording anything until iClone is playing. So I press play now, and everything is recording, which is cool. So it's actually synced up. And now iClone has stopped, so this has stopped recording. So I can actually hit stop here, and it does crazy stuff, and we're done, which is cool. Now, Unreal is being helpful and has now taken that, put it in a file, stuck it somewhere where we don't know where it is, and given us a blank slate again. So I guess the reasoning for that, it's now on take 2, and I guess it's to allow us to do multiple takes, and it's efficient. But for us, we're like, where'd it go, right? So where it's hiding, you go into your content folder, and it will create I think it creates a cinematics folder. In that is a takes folder, and then it'll have today's dates, and then it'll have the scenes, and like it'll be scene_take. So we only have one right now. We have basically, it's called a level sequence. So we open that up and it loads in. So you notice something weird. Now we have multiple characters. And again, that's because, like I said, this is like a 3D video recorder. So now not only do we have our live linked characters, but we have our recorded characters in the scene. The other thing we have to deal with is even when I eject my camera here, I can look through the camera that we recorded and start to play, but notice it's not moving like it should. It's locked in place. And the reason is because our live link is still locking in our camera. So you really have to go into live link. You can either just go to iClone and deactivate the link here, because we really don't need iClone anymore anyway, which is probably the way to go. Or you can just deactivate your characters, the live link in Unreal Engine. So I'm just going to shut off the live link on this side completely. And probably less resource stressful that way. Okay, so hopefully everybody's following along so far. So what we have to do now, we want to get rid of our original actors, because obviously we don't want to record our excuse me, sorry about that. Obviously we don't want to record both of these at once. So the logical thing you would think is, notice we have our characters here, and then our recorded ones have all this gray text next to them. So these are the ones we want to keep. So the logical thing you would think would be just to click this and make it disappear. But unfortunately, from what I understand, that doesn't make it invisible to when it actually renders out. So we have to be a little more sneaky about it. We actually have to go into our details to do that. So with our character selected, you just look for the visibility checkbox here and uncheck it. So we just have to go through all of these things. Cameras don't really matter because they're all behind us, but we just want to uncheck all of these. So that's teddy bear, Victoria, all those garden shears. So that should be all of them. Yeah, exactly, Leo. You know, we're not really using it to its max, so we're just doing one single take. But yeah, it's if you're going to do a lot of production, it's I can see the use for it. So now we see this here. Okay, so this was one thing. Originally, when I was doing all this before, I was kind of overriding the settings. Why did this not transfer over? Oh well, we'll fix it. So I'm going to go to this camera. Sure, it's because I deleted stuff and made it angry. So that would be under exposure of some type. So I do have that set. So why is that not doing it? Just to be mean. Oh. Darn it, darn it, darn it, because I recorded the wrong thing. All right, that's fine. We'll just switch. It's under editor active camera now. So I recorded the editor active camera instead of the main camera, but that's fine. So it's the same thing. We can just change the exposure compensation on that, brighten it up a little bit there. Gotcha, yes, exactly. I was wondering what the little lightning bolt meant, but yeah, that's the deal. I just notice it by the gray text that's here, but yeah, the lightning bolts are certainly a pretty evident icon. That doesn't mean anything to me, but now I guess I understand. Yeah, so there your recorded 3D actors. Okay, so now I can actually press play here, and so now it's actually playing in Unreal Engine, which is cool. Okay, so if we're happy with that, which I think we are, or we're going to at least pretend to be, we're ready to actually render this out now. So for rendering, you have a couple of choices. You can either use the movie scene capture, which is a legacy thing, which means it'll probably disappear eventually. So if you click that, you get kind of like the usual things you would expect when you're rendering something out, a choice of how to do it and overriding frames and blah, blah, blah. So that's fine, but I'll show you the more advanced way to do it, which is this movie render queue. So we click on that, and this is set up so you can like the name says, you can set up a bunch of renders ahead of time and then press go and let them run. But we're just going to do one at a time. To change the settings for this, you actually have to go in here, and it says unsaved config because we can actually like diddle around with that and then save it. Like if I go here, I deleted it from this, but yeah, you can actually save your configurations. So you can save it up here and then use it again later. So by default, it does a JPEG sequence. You can't right click and delete this, but you can just switch it off and then add something else like a PNG sequence, which is what I would prefer because it's not compressed. This deferred rendering stuff is just magic that makes it work, so you just kind of leave that alone. And then we have output settings. So this is where most of the stuff you would change is going to be. The output resolution we're actually going to change to what it's supposed to be. It's a weird resolution because it's just what the project demands, 1920 by 810. We're also going to use a custom frame rate for this because delivered, this has to be in 24 frames per second. So we did all the animation in 60, but it's going to be chopped down to 24. And I actually believe that's all I really need to mess with. Yeah. Cool. So hopefully everybody's following along. Doesn't look like there's too many questions or anything in chat, so cool. Yeah, so let's just accept this. Also, if you wanted to, we could actually go here and save it. And just leave it, whatever. I'm not really worried about that because this is a project I'm just going to delete after this is done. So after you set the things, you can do render local, render remote. I think remote does something where it does it behind the scenes, and render and local kind of like ties up the machine while it happens, I believe. Jay will correct me if I'm wrong. So we press go and it does its thing, and it's a pretty simple scene. So now it's like, okay, that's cool. Where did it go? Where it hides it is like a cooking show. I already have it set up. So it's wherever your Unreal projects is, and then your Unreal project, then it goes under saved, and then movie renders. And you actually have to be kind of careful with this, because if I like record it again or I do a different scene, they all get kind of like intermingled in the same folder. So just beware of that. So if we look at one of these, it looks pretty good, except maybe like her hair, right? Her hair's kind of, and that's a problem that we have a lot from the iClone link. For some reason, hair always looks like it needs anti-aliasing and stuff. And there's conflicting reasons why that happens, and there's conflicting things to fix it. But for us, for now, I'll show you what we can do. So I'm just going to click all of these. I'm going to pop back into this, and I'm just going to add another magic thing called anti-aliasing. And you can, I think by default, these are like, you can change your anti-aliasing method. I think by default it's doing TSR, which is actually what I'm going to choose now. But there's all these other anti-aliasing settings, and you could look them up and try to make sense of it, or look at Jay's videos where he explains it a little bit. But I was reading this on the Unreal Engine's website, and it was like showing a card trick to a duck. It was like, it was like, I don't understand. Really didn't make a lot of sense to me. But you know, the wind up of it is sometimes there's a way of doing it temporally, where it looks at previous frames and later frames and does some kind of magic to do the anti-aliasing. And then there's spatial ones where there's some kind of like jitter. It renders it multiple times and jitters around and then mushes those frames together to do it. So the temporal one here is one way we're doing it. And I'm actually going to crank that up to like 4. I'm glad you thought the same thing, Jay. Some of it didn't really make sense, and some of it you have to like look out for, because some of it goes back to the render settings that you have set up in your project, and I don't know. It didn't really make a hell of a lot of sense to me. But I played around with this before, and if I set it to TSR, at least for this project, and say 4 of them, and click accept, and just roll with it, then it works. So I'm going to render it again, and let it do its thing. And it's going to take 4 times as long because it's doing, for every frame, it's actually doing 4 renders, and then doing some magic to mush those into one frame each. And what happens for my project, I get an error because since it's doing temporal magic, it actually needs to look at frames before what we're recording. But since I don't have any animation and anything happening before then, it's not being, it's throwing a wobbly at us. It still works, but as you'll see, my first frame is going to end up corrupted because it's some combination of what's recorded and like what my default viewport is showing or something. What I did to get around this was simply delete this and copy my second frame and make it my first frame. And nobody's going to know. All right. Yeah, I hear you. 4 times as long, 20 seconds. Big whoop, right? Still quick. And now if we look at one of our scenes, one of our things, notice the hair looks much better now. So in the beginning, we get a little nice motion blur going on. So that's cool. Do you guys want to see how I set up? I did a depth of field on the actual render. Do you guys want to see me bumble through and see if I can remember how to do that again? Because I don't think it's terribly hard, but it's totally nonsensical. Other Pixel Peanut says yes. So that's 1 vote. And Nancy says yes. And Julia says yes. So who am I to say no for that? All right, so I'll see if I can show you this. Hopefully it works with the editor active camera that we're using. We'll see. It should work the same because I think it's, as far as Unreal is concerned, it's the same as a real camera. We'll see. All right, guys, so it's kind of funny. So you click on the camera. So we click on the, the camera that we have going here. And one would think you would like poke around and eventually you're going to run into things that say depth of field. So we have a couple of them. We have mobile depth of field, which by the way, right now is clicked only because this is what transfers from iClone. If I have depth of field, and I didn't think I had that set up. But that's what it uses, which is kind of like a more fakey, easier depth of field to use for mobile devices or something like that. But we're not going to use that. We're going to use the more realistic cinematic one. So we're just going to ignore the mobile depth of field. Now, one would think you would just go into depth of field and you'd be able to, say, set our focal distance. But no matter what I set it to, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't mean anything. And when you look up the instructions for how to do depth of field in Unreal on their website, it doesn't mention anything here. Okay, so good job there. Most of the action happens under scroll. Let me actually collapse all this crapola. Oops, that is the wrong button. Just ended the universe. Let me collapse all. So I think most of what you're going to want to do is under current camera settings. So everything's kind of under that. And I only did this like yesterday or the day before. I've completely already forgotten. Okay, so there's a couple things we have to do. Because like there's the way in photography to get depth of field, there's a couple things that are like you usually need like a shorter focal length and or a very small aperture size. Our focal length is set here at 85, which is relatively long, unfortunately. But our camera's locked down because it's a necessity of this project. So we can't change that. So we're going to have to really, really tighten up our aperture, which is also something that you would call f-stop sometimes. So we want to set the minimum to 0 so that in the other setting that we're going to change, we can change that. So we're going to, for this, usually you might have to mess with that, but for our purposes, because we have a long focal length, we have to change that to 0. Okay, now let's see if I can actually figure out where our other magic settings are. I believe they're under the post-process and then under lens. Yeah, lens, exposure, no, not exposure. Camera, perhaps. That sort of might be it, but I don't think it actually is. Let's just see. I don't think this is where I did it at, though. You'll find that there's like 50 places where with like sort of identical things. So let me type in aperture. So it's under current camera settings. So it is there somewhere. It's probably buried under some advanced thing. Current aperture. So let's see if we can find that. Current aperture, there it is. We also want this, okay. So, I should have had the instructions for this opened up. I'll have to do a cheat sheet for this one day too. Okay, so current aperture is what we have to change. So if we do like 0.1, I mean, all right, why would it change? Why would this work? Darn. It's going to make a liar out of me. All right, we'll find it. Don't panic. If I have to look through every stinking thing. To see if there's any other. Nobody panic. Yeah, I thought everything was under current camera settings, so let's just look. It's pretty evident because there's like a thing where there's an option where it'll show us where our focal stuff is. I wonder if we can. I wonder if it's not working because this is the editor active camera. It might not be a Cinecam or something, so it might not have the option. That's possible. Poop. Yeah, it is a demonstration effect. I think. Yeah, let me look at this other camera and see if that exists here. Focus method, focus settings. Do we have that over in this guy? We do. So focus settings. That's what we want. So it isn't under current camera. There's some magic thing called focus settings or something. So let me just see if we can find all that. Collapse all. Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it is under current camera and then focus settings. Okay, I gotcha. So it is all under current camera settings. Excuse me. It is under current camera settings. Then you got to scroll down. And under focus settings, we want to do manual focus. This allows us to do what we need to do. So now under current aperture, we can type in something like 1. You see, we start to see this go out of balance. And if we say like 0.2, it's really going out of focus. Oops, 0.2. And if we click on this magic thing, yay, I know, right? Woohoo! So if we click on this magic thing, it will show us where we're focusing at. Perhaps, maybe. There we go. So this is kind of like the wall of focus. So you can, I'm just clicking on this setting and I'm scrolling left and right with my mouse, and I can kind of move this around. So if we want like our teddy bear to be the main thing, we can kind of like move our wall just past him or around him. Shut this off. And we can see like he's in focus and she's not. And then we can play with our aperture setting to kind of widen out or shrink that area. So if we wanted a little more in focus, we can do, oops, a little more focus, we can do 0.1. So I think I was doing like 0.3 or something for the final one. So, and I think I moved the wall a little bit closer to her so that her face and the bear were mainly in focus and everything else was like slightly out of focus. Yeah, I hear you, right? But why name it something that makes sense? We would, well, actually, yeah, I guess it's the debug focus plane color, and then we can draw the debug focus plane. But the focus offset is not a focus plane. It's, go figure. Because Unreal. So guys, I think that's pretty much it with this, unless there was something else you wanted to show me, and then I can actually show you the sneaky. Some things in Unreal are so simple, usually the complicated stuff, but the simple stuff, they make it very hard sometimes. Absolutely. Like this focus stuff, I kind of feel like, you know, the depth of field stuff should be, they should kind of move all of these or duplicate all these settings under depth of field and then just let you override them there maybe. That would be really, really cool. But so we did all that and we didn't even have to mess with that. But I don't know. Go figure. I'm sure there's really smart reasons. There might be some other thing that happens with those other ones and it does depth of field in a different way. Because when I was looking at the instructions, it's showing us like different layers and it does blending and I don't know. But I don't know if that's what it's doing here or I don't know. Who knows? So yeah, that's that, guys. So I'm just going to save this and now we will get to something cool and fun. So this is going to be a reward for sticking to the end here. I'm going to close this. I'll count to 10 or I'll wait a little bit unless somebody and you guys can say something if you want me to show you anything else. Otherwise, I'm going to close it down and continue. The next thing I'm going to open up is pretty resource intensive. So I'm actually going to close my iClone too. Not save that. I'm going to close my cheat sheet. I don't see any screams of no wait, so I'm closing it. I'll save everything in case I need to open it back up again for you. So this is fun. I have to actually put on my headphones for this. Well, actually, I'll do it in 1 minute. So this is pretty interesting. I downloaded this the other day. Replica Studios, you guys, and this, by the way, this isn't an ad or anything. Like, I'm not being paid from them, so I just happen to be playing around with this. But Replica Studios, this is actually the company I use a lot for my my text-to-speech voices. So if you watched like my short animation, My Seat on my YouTube channel, all the female voices were actually done through this. So I just type in what I want and it spits out a pretty reasonable voice. But the interesting thing is, I guess the company is expanding out. And if we look at their blog here, they're going to launch something called Smart NPCs. And right now it's only available to like people that pay them $1 million or something. And right now I think they only have it working in Unreal 4. So you'll watch what we're about to do is a demo in Unreal 4, but I think they're going to release it for Unreal 5 very soon. So they have these smart NPCs. So these are, I think they're basically like, they're probably behind the scenes. They're running like Chat GPT or something in the background, but it's really cool because you can interact with them and they're pseudo real people. Like they can kind of hold a conversation. Sometimes they'll remember back what, you know, they previously talked about, or they kind of like carry through the topic. It's really, really neat. So I'm going to load it up now and show you what I'm talking about. Let me pop this into the chat and you guys can check it out later. So if you read through and you go down, you can actually download this, what I'm about to show you here. And it's really big. It's like 1 jillion terabytes or something. So it's going to take a while to download and everything, but it is pretty cool. So let's load it up. Get my gamepad, put my headphones on. Bring OBS back up so I can see what's going on. Yeah, this is cool, Jay. You're gonna get a kick out of this, I think. I mean, this is just their demo. Oh man, I think I want to throw up after watching that. Okay, so we will continue. All right, he wants me to test the microphone. Testing microphone, woo! All right, so I'm gonna put my Nisi over here and get my gamepad. So there's not much you can do with this. You can see the controls. They show you on the left. We can show and hide these. There's a brief menu. One of these is a menu. We can, I don't know, set everything to high because high is always the best, right? We can fly around if we want. We press Y again to go back. And if we hold the right mouse, the right button down, we can jog around. So nothing terribly exciting there. So let me hide this. So here's the cool thing. We can just stroll up to people and start talking to them now. Yeah, this, being that this was a game, it was, pre-compiled. I mean, this isn't a level, an uncompiled level in Unreal, unfortunately. You can't play with the project. This is a compiled game. So, hey, how's it going, guy? Pretty good. Just playing around with video games today. It's actually this one. Did you know you're in a video game right now? I think if I did, it would blow your mind. Well, you see, you're just compiled data in a video game. Yeah, never mind. I'm just crazy. Forget about it. How cool is that, huh? The poor guy. So I try not to break the third wall with these poor guys because I think it just it breaks their little heads. This lady looks nice. How's it going, lady? But small talk just makes the world go around in a nicer place. Well, you're doing a good job of that. All right, bye-bye. Have a good day. Okay, have a good day then. Attitude. Attitude. Let's see who else. I guess she isn't so nice. Let's run through traffic here. Who else do we got? Yeah, rude, right? Hey, you look kind of down today. You're on vacation in a crappy city? You're clearly correct about that. Okay, well, I don't want to hold you up then. Have a good vacation. Excuse me. Excuse me, miss. Excuse me? Do you like sheep? Yes, and I hear the sheep are baaing in the pasture. Isn't it spectacular? That's great. Do you like Bob Ross? Pretty neat. She knew about the paintings. I can tell you're a definite Bob Ross fan. That is awesome. Well, you have a wonderful day. See, we found a nice person in the city. That's good. But isn't this kind of neat? So it was funny. They all kind of have like... Actually, I don't, but if you find a place, let me know. What kind of pizza do you like the best? Okay, yeah, well, that's might be true, but like, what do you actually like on the pizza? Okay, I think the pizza place is 1 block down, and then make a left and go 4 blocks down from that. You'll make it, buddy. I believe in you. Okay, well, I'll leave you to it. Goodbye. It's pretty fun, right? Yeah, I hear them speak. I have my headphones on. Are you guys hearing them speak? Or I don't know if I have my desktop audio. Oh, man. You don't have my desktop audio. I'm so sorry. Let me turn that on for you.
I understand how busy. Whatever.
I gotcha. Okay, well, yeah, that's half the cool thing. Yeah, they're actually talking back. So, are you hearing you're hearing it now, right? Cool. Awesome.
Good morning.
Hey,
what
good
a
morning.
beautiful day we're having, isn't it?
We are having a wonderful day.
Yes. The sun is shining and I'm feeling great.
That's great, dude. Are you on drugs?
No. I'm just naturally this happy. Why does everyone always assume that?
It's just the way you talk. I'm sure it's nothing personal, though.
Thanks for understanding. I just like to spread positivity wherever I go.
That's great. I'll leave you to it. Please stay away from small children. Goodbye.
Excuse me.
I don't think you like that.
Good morning. What a beautiful day it is.
Hey, you have the same voice as the last guy.
Ah, hi there. That's funny, not really. For sure we're both just naturally happy people.
Hello there. How are you doing today?
Could be. You might be on the same drugs.
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Just
don't do
taking a
drugs.
stroll through the city and
Some other
enjoying
random
the
person
sights.
I
talking.
just like to spread positivity wherever
That sounds
I go.
lovely.
You guys,
I always enjoy
we're gonna go somewhere
exploring
else.
the
I think
city
these
and
people are drug
discovering-
users. They're just like talking randomly to each other.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hey, you dropped your wallet. Just kidding. Watch.
Ah, that's funny.
I bet I could beat you in a foot race.
You think so? I do have a sprint button here.
Oh, I see you cheating already. Challenge accepted.
Okay, ready, set, go.
Oops. I think I accidentally tripped you. My bad.
Now who's the one who's cheating?
Hey, A little friendly competition never hurt anyone.
How about we play poker instead?
Sure, but I warn you, I'm a bit of a quad shark.
Are you? You are a man of many talents. Isn't this crazy though? You could kind of have conversations with these people.
Oh, you know, I dabble here and there. Jack of all trades, master of mischief.
Yeah, you're too shady for me. I think I'm gonna move on. Have a good day.
Whoa, don't be like that. Come on, stick around and let's cause some trouble.
So yeah, guys, this is. I thought you'd get a kick out of that. It's pretty interesting. All this AI stuff.
Excuse
I
me.
think we'll quit here.
I'm not in the mood to talk.
I'm gonna Yep. Yeah, it does definitely. Yeah, he's definitely a Grand Theft Auto resident for sure. So that's it, everybody. That's all the fun stuff I have for you today. And this is the end of this live stream series. Now that I'm kind of getting used to doing these again, maybe I'll continue. Once I have some other project to do. I'm not really sure what that's going to be, but you know, I'll keep you posted. Check my channel from time to time, and we'll continue with this. I hope you guys have a great night. And since you were all good and you stayed to the end, here's your tea and biscuits.